Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of Remodel Your Ramadan 5-day challenge. And this is actually part 2 of cleanup time. I'm calling it the Ramadan Edition because cleanup time part 1 was general information, which still applies. We're focused on rocking your nutrition. And to start things off, first of all, one housekeeping note. I have a few different issues going on with background noise, and I apologize for that. So I'm hoping that the distraction will be minimal for you, but I just have no other place I could possibly record this. And we moved recently to a new place, and it's a bit noisier in this respect than in our previous place. So anyway, hope the main ideas get through just fine, inshaAllah. So to start us off with Rock Your Nutrition Ramadan Edition, I'd like you to think about a couple of things that are focused on mindfulness and reflection and this kind of thing. So how would you describe your eating and drinking habits during Ramadan? Sort of like the question I asked last episode. What are you satisfied with? What are you dissatisfied with regarding your eating and drinking habits during Ramadan? And then also I'd like you to think about what are your Ramadan eating habits based on? For example, I just listed a few ideas that came to my mind, perhaps cultural habits, family expectations, time and energy constraints, or ease of preparation, flavors, cravings, nutrition, health. So think about those and we'll come back to that near the end. So as I mentioned, everything that I mentioned before in video number 3, day 3, it all applies. We want to apply as much of this as possible to our Ramadan eating as well. So again, a focus on including more plant-based foods and fewer processed and packaged items and animal products, trying to eat lots of leafy greens, include plenty of other vegetables and fruit too. Healthy, lean protein is what we should focus on, not heavy, fatty things. And also including plenty of vegetable sources for those proteins and healthy fats and complex carbohydrates as well, as opposed to less refined, actually, as opposed to refined and simple carbs. We want to lower the amount of those simple carbs that we eat. And for this, I switched out the article that I had linked last time because I found a new one that I thought might be helpful. And we'll just take a quick peek at it. And here it is. We'll have just a quick look at it. So I just thought, well, people might not quite understand what I mean by complex carbohydrates versus simple ones. So these will be whole grains, whole foods, right? And simple carbs are things that break down very easily and quickly into sugar in our bodies. So things like flour, gluten flour especially, but any flour really, but gluten flour is one of the worst. Sugar, refined sugar, processed foods, things like this. So we want to get away from that and go towards some of these items. So it's very easy to click through. They give you 19 ideas. So lots of great things here: chickpeas, millet, oats, barley, multi-grain hot cereal. This is what we do. We just mix up our grains for our cereal in the morning. So you can have a look at that more if you like to get some more ideas. And we'll get back to the presentation here. And so to focus on Ramadan, let's start with the start of the day, which is in the dark, right? Suhoor, very early in the morning. And some specific tips for suhoor are to avoid caffeine. My suggestion with this is start now if you are a caffeine consumer. at this point, why not start now and wean yourself off of whatever it is that's your drink of choice. My husband tends to do this. He gets himself off of coffee and tea, caffeine from those drinks, and then for Ramadan, and then it starts to slowly creep back in to his lifestyle afterwards. So, whatever works if you just want to do it that way. But in general, caffeine is not a great thing for us to have in our lives anyway. So why not? Also, main tips here: avoid dry foods, fried foods, unhealthy oils, salt, sugar. These all make us thirstier. These are all, actually, I don't think I can think of any one of them that is not a toxin. Okay, these really are toxic to our systems, whether it's Ramadan or not. So we definitely don't want them in our systems during Ramadan. They all make us thirstier. And that's mainly because they're toxic. So try again, as usual, drink plenty of water when you can. So up through suhoor, and of course from iftar and beyond. You could add fruit to it if you get bored. You can also make things like green smoothies. They're liquid and they're full of nutrients and phytochemicals and fantastic natural components that our bodies love. Herbal tea is another option. And there's also actually a Shaklee product called Hydrate. It's really great for if you're someone who has liked Gatorade or this kind of thing in the past, or maybe even still. Please, please, please do not drink that kind of thing. It is also toxic because it's full of chemicals of all sorts and no nutritional value whatsoever. You see this word electrolytes and you think, oh, I need that, minerals. Oh, it's got minerals in it. You know what? The easiest fix, the easiest way to make yourself an electrolyte drink is you put a pinch of, Himalayan salt or sea salt, something like this, in your water. That's an electrolyte drink right there. So anyway, if you want something with some flavor that's not overly and sickly sweet, Hydrate is a great option, and you can find that on my Shop Bora website. And don't forget your supplements. This is really important, even more so, I would say, during Ramadan than at other times of the year. It really helps to fill in the gaps. We have fewer opportunities to eat and drink during Ramadan. And so really help your body out and keep up with your supplements, especially if they are high quality ones. Choose whole fruits over juice. Include fresh and or cooked, but not fried vegetables at suhoor for some people. And they think suhoor or breakfast at other times of the year, vegetables are a weird thing. That's a mindset thing. That's mindset right there. And okay, you can think it's weird, but it's actually very healthful to include vegetables at every single meal, every time you're eating something, honestly. Eat some healthy protein. One suggestion is our go-to, no matter what time of year it is, Ramadan or not. Our whole family enjoys homemade cooked protein-rich cereal. So those grains that we got a glimpse of in the article that was discussing complex carbohydrates, a lot of those items are protein-rich as well. So you get a twofer there. And you could mix berries or raisins, other dried fruit, things like this, unsalted raw nuts, to just give yourself a whole meal in a bowl, along with your water or other helpful drink. And the nice thing is you can make a whole big pot and it will last you for days. So that cuts down on the time issues. So yeah, no time, no energy, no problem. Another idea is to eat some healthy leftovers from the previous night's iftar. Again, don't forget your supplements. I guess I didn't actually, it's a little bit of a mistake, but that's okay. We can't be reminded too much about supplements. And another great option is you can try LifeShake. This is Shaklee's protein shake. And you can drink it alone. It's a powder, So by alone, I just mean as a shake with water or some kind of, I would suggest plant-based milk, but it's your choice. And it could be along with any of the previous suggestions, like the cereal. And I said minus the protein. Actually, I meant to update this slide because there are a couple of mistakes in it. So I'm sorry about that. The LifeShake contains 20 grams of vegetable protein, which means it's very digestible. It's a vegan product, so you don't have to worry about any issues there. It tastes great and it is surprisingly filling. So that's something you could order now, and you would have time, if you don't already have LifeShake in your life, you'd have time to try it out and see what you think before Ramadan even. So it contains 20 grams of protein, which is still a significant amount, but you don't have to worry too much, especially during Ramadan, about getting too much protein at your suhoor meal. And yeah, so if you haven't heard about LifeShake, we're going to have just a quick look at that. There's a 1-minute video here. And get it. There we go. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear the volume on this. It's just music though, so. Yeah, so it's a complete meal in a glass, 4 different flavors to choose from. So there is French vanilla. I love that because it's very versatile. Rich chocolate, that's a good one. A favorite of the whole family, strawberry as well. And my personal favorite is the cafe latte. So 2 scoops of the powder gives you 20 grams of protein, lots of vitamins and minerals, non-GMO, better than organic, and it's low glycemic index as well. So there we go. And I will just get back to our slides. So yeah, it's easy and fast and nutritious. So another great option there. Then we can move on to iftar suggestions. So again, the same things will apply. No caffeine. Really try to avoid that at all costs. It causes a lot of problems with sleep. Not great for the health. Also the dry and fried foods, all of those things are just not things you want to be ending your evening with and heading off to bed with. Again, drink plenty of water. And one of our favorite things for iftar, it's really a must in our household and probably in a lot of yours, is to have some kind of soup. And one of the best things you can do is make sure it's homemade, and also try to pay attention and be mindful of this amount of salt you're putting in that soup or broth, because again, too much salt, whether it's Ramadan or not, is not healthful. It's not something our body needs. In fact, it's quite harmful, more than most people realize. Choose whole fruits over juices again, and again, including plenty of vegetables, not fried though. Eat healthy protein at dinner as well, and at iftar, and you really want to be careful about having too heavy of a meal or too much animal protein, especially red meat. And then choose complex carbohydrates again. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to just completely give up your favorites. I know there are lots of family favorites, historical, traditional foods in families, and you don't want to get rid of that. And there's no need to get rid of favorite recipes, but there are ways that we can make them healthier. So if you have a favorite rice dish, instead of white rice, you can use brown rice. And in my opinion, there's not a big difference in taste. And brown rice has more nutrients in it than white rice does. Or you can mix into whatever rice mixture, whether it's white rice, brown rice, wild rice, any mix of the 3, you can also put in cauliflower rice to sort of, I like to say it dilutes the effects, the high glycemic effects of standard white rice, because it's a vegetable. And personally, I don't notice the difference when it's about 50% cauliflower rice and 50% white rice or brown rice. I don't feel like I'm eating something that's not rice. I still get that sensation and that taste. And, you know, with rice, isn't it mostly about the sauce anyway? I mean, come on. So choosing gluten-free bread or pasta is an option to just regular standard wheat bread or wheat-based pasta. Again, that will be doing your body a favor. Mixing things up, getting away from the wheat flour is always a plus, whether you have a sensitivity to gluten or not. And then things like sweet potato, celery root, radishes, these can go alongside, be mixed in with potatoes for any sort of potato dish, just to give your body some more diversity in those kinds of plates. So lots of ways to just boost the nutritional value and decrease the amount of simple carbs in your iftar, which will help you throughout Ramadan, inshaAllah. And some more iftar and post-iftar suggestions. Don't overeat. It's so tempting to overeat. You've been fasting all day, and don't you deserve it? You deserve to have whatever you want, right? Well, again, that's a mindset that is not really helping your body all that much. So some healthy swaps for tea time and beyond. Again, you want to steer clear of the caffeine, especially as it gets later at night and closer to the time you should be sleeping. Keep drinking water and or herbal tea if you're thirsty. And I would say, even if you're not, keep drinking while you can, while you're awake. Yeah, again, focus on whole fruit instead of juice. And you can choose unsalted raw nuts instead of salted or roasted. And I don't necessarily have a problem with the roasting, the heat processing itself of nuts. But typically, if you buy already roasted nuts, they are highly salted and they're often using an unhealthy oil to roast them in. And even if they are dry roasted, they still have a ton of salt usually. So again, being able to be in charge of the ingredients, that's always a plus. You can offer dried fruit or homemade healthier treats in place of unhealthy sweets. Again, I know we feel like, oh, we deserve this. We get to have our treat. We, made it through another wonderful day of fasting and this amazing season, but really, I like to suggest that you save, the full-on cheat meals and really any healthy sweets. We try to defer them or delay them, postpone them until Eid, or perhaps just like once a week instead of thinking every single evening. This is your normal thing. It shouldn't be your normal thing. It's not your normal thing during the rest of the year. So why during Ramadan? This is a very reflective and holy time. So why mar it with such unhealthy habits? And avoid eating too late, too close to sleeping time, because as we'll talk about tomorrow, it can very negatively impact your sleep if you're eating right up until bedtime. And I didn't mention at the start don't overeat. There is a hadith. My husband and I were talking about it the other day. And of course, this is kind of paraphrasing and it's in English, but and Allah knows best, but feel free to look it up for yourself if you're not familiar with it. And it goes something like, a few bites are sufficient for people to do their daily activities. If they are not convinced of this, then they should divide their stomach. 1/3 for food, 1/3 for drink, 1/3 for air. So it's really, it's amazing because as you know, more and more research comes out on nutrition and other things, we find that even in modern day Western scientific communities, the truths of Islam are being proven almost every day. So with regard to things to eat and how to eat, and it's just amazing to me, subhanAllah. So then just a few final thoughts. Just as you are the CEO of your own healthcare, you, and I'm speaking mainly to the sisters here, this is who this challenge was intended for. I know people could find, anybody could find my these videos on my YouTube channel, and that's fine, but I'm speaking to the women here, the sisters. You are also the CEO of your own household. And that's regardless of whether you're single, married, whatever marital status, kids, no kids, other people in your household, maybe elders, maybe nieces, nephews, whatever the situation, we women tend to be, even in this modern era, no matter where we live, in what culture, whichever culture, we are the caregivers. And so don't think I'm assuming too much to believe that you are probably the primary meal planner, the grocery shopper, the chef. And so, you know, you're the CEO, so you should act like it if you aren't already. And that means you're in charge. And what you say and what you do goes. So if you're feeling like, you know what, there's some things that we could really improve in our health and our diet, whether it's Ramadan or not, it really boils down to the fact that if someone doesn't like what you cook in the house, well, they're welcome to make or provide something else, you know. So, but we don't want to start any fights before Ramadan, certainly not. So as part of the activities for this day 4, Rock Your Nutrition Ramadan Edition, I'd love it if you would share either in the Telegram group or with me on WhatsApp what your top 1 or 2 areas of concern are for this Ramadan. And then talk with your household members today. Start having this conversation now ahead of Ramadan about some concerns that you may have, any shifts that you wish to make for everyone's sake in the household to create a healthier and more joyful Ramadan for you all, inshaAllah. And if you haven't done so already, I highly, strongly encourage you to take the meology assessment. Like I said before, there's no obligation to buy anything, but just having the knowledge that of which supplements would be good for you to add into your routine and add into your diet would, I think, only be beneficial to have that kind of information, because we all have gaps in our diet. We all have gaps when it comes to, you know, vitamins and other nutrients. So if you haven't stopped in, if you haven't checked out the link, I'm just going to show that. Oops. Didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. Just going to show you what it looks like in case you haven't been there. And actually, I'll back up because that's not quite what it looks like. This is what it looks like when you first pop in. That's me there up at the top, so you know it's my website. And you just scroll down just a tad bit, and there you go. It's super easy. There's only one button now. There used to be 2 different ones to have to choose from. It was a little confusing. Now it's totally simplified, and I love it. So you just simply press Get Started. And as you saw before, because I was already ahead, here, the reason it says a name here is I did this on my link for my sister last month. So it's still got her information there. If you've done the meology assessment before, it should show up as your own name. And you should be able to, if you want, you can go straight to looking at the plan that it suggests for you. Otherwise, you are welcome to retake the assessment at any time. And that's, you know, makes sense that you can retake it because our diets change, our habits change, and so it will adjust, and it will give you a new plan based on your new answers. So I really encourage you to do that. And then talk with me afterwards about it. Let's have a chat. I'd love to see where you're at with things and answer any questions you have. So I think that's all for now. We'll see where this ends up time-wise as usual. And as always, if you have any questions, let me know. You know where to reach me. In the meantime, I wish you a wonderful day or night, depending on where you are and what time it is that you're watching this. And take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow, inshaAllah. Assalamu alaikum.